glad you did it that way, Nate. I was gonna suggest the lady go first.
My name's Kevin Teeters, and this is hard for me because I don't get up and talk about myself. That's not me. And if I can answer a question with one word, I'm probably gonna do that, as Rhonda and Nate can answer. That's just my way. I have two daughters, Haley and Kendall. Haley is a juvenile court probation officer, and Kendall has just finished her first semester at ETSU looking to be an accountant. Born and raised in Knoxville, went to Dole High School. It was still Dole at that time. It became South Dole 2 years after I was there. And I tell this story because evidently WBR thinks that's all I do or did. I was an assistant golf professional where I ran into Andrea. That's how long I've known her. Before I even got into this, went back to college, did this career, she was a member there and I knew her. I went to UT as a non-traditional student. So I went out, I had a life, had a kid, and like, okay, this isn't gonna work, I gotta do something different. So I went back as one of those 20-something-year-olds to UT, got my degree, and I went to law school. I started in the DA's office in 2000, and when I started, she was my trainer.
I think he's making a slam on your head.
But it's funny how little things, you remember the little things. And, you know, I was in court with her and Mitch Harper, and, you know, I was learning the ways, and I probably did a little bit more than I should have. That's just my style. So Mitch goes to Andrea, and he's like, he's probably doing too much. He's going to get in trouble. So she comes to me, and she's like, stop. Don't do it again. And I did. That was it. And how did I learn this job? I walked into court the first day, and I'm sitting at the table, and Mitch brings me these pile of warrants and throws them on the table. And says, I need you to do VOPs on this. I said, what is that? He said, figure it out. And I figured it out. But that was how I learned there. The story of how I was hired in the DA's office, you know, I went through an intern. I worked for 6 years in the DA's office before I became an assistant district attorney. And how I was hired was Randy Nichols in and John Gill, and I'd taken the bar, hadn't got my results back yet. I went to John Gill, and he's like, I don't know if we're gonna have a position for you or not. You know, because you gotta have an opening to have a position. I was like, that's fine, I understand. So I'm sitting at my desk doing something, and dear friend, Sam Bounce, came in, and he just threw this manila envelope on my desk. And I'm like, what's that? He said, that's your insurance payment. You're hired, fill it out. That's how I got hired in the DA's office. And I've now been there 20 years since that time. Of my 20 years in the DA's office, 18 have been spent in Sessions Court. I spent 2 years in child abuse and juvenile court. I'm not going to talk too much about child abuse. Y'all can figure that out. It's pretty well. Judge Jackson, when I started, when I was in an intern law clerk, my third year, Judge Jackson was my supervisor. So I have been in all 4 criminal sessions courts. I have been assigned to all of them. Spent lots of time in all of them. And for the last 5 years, I have been the team leader for the DA's office sessions unit. So I'm over the sessions courts, misdemeanor, felony, and bonded arraignment traffic. I'm not over DUI where she is, just because it's its own animal. Originally I was, we were trying to do a little hybrid, and finally I was like, this isn't gonna work. Somebody else needs to do that. So I just do those 3. Like I said, I'm not used to talking about myself. At the sessions level, I am the office contact person for the criminal court clerk's office, KPD, the sheriff's department, THP. Because I am the sessions team leader, you know, if they have a question about what to do, procedure, something like that, they come to me, and, you know, I try and help them out. The 5 sessions judges rotate from week to week, so you're not just in one court all the time. That would be boring. So there is a rotation. You bounce from court to court to court, and every 5 weeks, then it starts back over. You know, I see Rhonda daily, and you know, I see the other judges. I get them for a week. This week I got Judge Davis all week long. Next week I'll have Judge Kingsbury all week long. And I like it. I like seeing a little bit of a different variety. What do sessions judges do? They conduct preliminary hearings. They take plea agreements. They decide whether somebody gets out of jail or not. They decide whether a case should be dismissed on procedural grounds. Like our standard policy is we set a case for hearing twice. If nobody shows up to prosecute it, whether it be the officer or Walmart, Rhonda's gonna go up and make a motion to dismiss the case. And if nobody showed up twice, that's what's gonna happen, it's gonna get dismissed. Those are the kind of decisions that judges make. Now, there could be some sort of question, maybe they were here the first time, they're not here the second time. She's gonna ask for it to be dismissed, I'm gonna ask for another chance. The judge is gonna decide what happens. That's what a sessions judge does. They also conduct mental health hearings twice a week, and they sign and review search warrants if a magistrate's not available. A lot of times the magistrate will do it, but it very often will happen, one of the judges is on the bench, an officer will come in, he's like, I need like 5 minutes, so we'll go back in chambers and we'll talk. Those are just some of the procedural things that sessions judges do. Andrea and Rhonda are both good friends of mine. And whoever gets this appointment, and whoever gets the election, whether it be the same or a different person, Knox County will be very lucky. I think that my 18 years in Sessions Court and 5 years as the DA's office Sessions team leader positioned me best to continue the efficiency that I do on a daily basis. Sessions Court, for those of you who have not been there, is controlled chaos. It is absolute chaos. It's not like what you see on TV, where there's one defendant and a couple of attorneys and a judge. I'm standing at a table, I've got a judge behind me, I've got 5 or 6 attorneys in front of me, I got 50 people in the audience, I got 40 people in jail over here. This one's talking to me, I'm listening to this one, the judge asked me a question, and I'm trying to look out the audience for somebody that I need. That's what it is, it's controlled chaos. And somebody that's going to be a sessions judge needs to be able to deal in that environment. And I just feel that my experience is best for that. I appreciate you all letting me come and talk tonight. And if you have any questions, I'm free to answer.